live here, understand? You included.
Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land. It's your T-shirted historian, and man, I'm exhausted. We're getting closer and closer to the point where I can take my Christmas vacation, and it just seems like the work is intensifying that much more. So it's just it's exhausting. But got another week, and I can slog through it all, and take a couple of weeks off and hopefully have some more time to stream and hang out with you guys. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope the rest of y'all are doing well. Hope y'all staying warm. And hope y'all have a pretty decent Christmas. I did something stupid over this Christmas. I should say over the last few months. Doofus me got myself into a chunk of debt, so I'm going to be looking forward to having to pay that down for the rest of the year. But you know what? It's my own doing. I did it. I made the mistake, and it's all right. You pay for your mistakes. But, I'm taking responsibility for it. I'm not trying to duck it. I'm not trying to declare bankruptcy or anything stupid. I mean, it's just kind of like, okay, we got into a little hitch. We're going to pay it off. It's, no big deal. It's not like guys are going to come over and break my nuts if I don't pay them. But it is a good lesson for me in, not letting your eyes get bigger than your wallet. It's kind of one of the reasons why I've decided I am either completely cutting back on or cutting off most, if not all, of my Kickstarter stuff, just because that's one of the big things that I buy a lot of, and I buy a lot into, and I'm not always seeing a lot of return on those. I mean, it's like, yeah, I love the stuff when I get it. I love getting all the extra prizes and everything else, but it's just too hard to get stuff in, get it all paid off, and then it's just, it's wonderful stuff when it shows up, but then it kind of just sits on my shelf and it doesn't go anywhere, and I feel bad about that. So I'm doing that to help myself out a little bit and just kind of trying to be a little less materialistic in buying stuff. I mean, I still buy stupid stuff, but I'm trying to do a lot less of that. That does not mean I'm going to stop promoting people's Kickstarters, okay? For sure. If you've got a Kickstarter out there that you're going to do and you want me to promote it on my channel, I'm happy to take a look at it. I'm happy to run it. I'm happy to do interviews, whatever you guys want to do. Let me know. I just can't always promise that I'm going to be backing it up because, got debt to pay and got shelf space that ain't getting any smaller. In fact, I'm honestly looking at some of my physical collection of things and thinking about how I can properly redistribute them to people who would really enjoy having them more than I do. And it's not that I don't love my shelf queens, but I have to realistically look at things and say, okay, when is the last time I played Shattered Zone? And if I get rid of this, if I put it up on eBay, I don't know where it's going to end up. But if I give it or sell it to one of you guys out there, one of you fans, I'm pretty sure it'll be loved a little bit more than than if I just sold it to somebody on eBay. So I'm considering my options. So stay tuned. We'll see what happens with some of that stuff. If you guys want to own some of my collection, let me know. I've definitely got some juicy stuff here that I know people would love to get their hands on, like the entire print run of Cult First Edition. I know some of y'all have seen that I have it. I haven't played it in I don't know how long, so if you're interested, let me know. But anyway, I'm not here to shill all my stuff out. I'm here to shill someone else. And with us today, we have our guest, Mr. Alex T. from Blackoath Entertainment.
Hi, everybody.
How are you, Alex?
It's a pleasure to be here. I'm doing great.
Great to see you. And I've got our capable panelists out here. Oh, we lost one of them. Hope he comes back. Irie's popped out.
Hello.
Hope he comes back in.
Yeah.
Hello, guys. All right, so some of y'all out there in YouTube land may not know who Alex T is or who Blackoath Entertainment is. Well, I know I've got videos up. In fact, I have one particular video up where I shilled this particular book. During the OSR, or I should say the OSE crisis that happened to us where, we thought WotC was going to change all the rules on us, this was one of the books that I told you were in danger of losing forever if the changes went through. And Mr. Alex also saw that writing on the wall, which is why he put out this much better, larger version of the same book, which I have 2 copies of. But
well, before we go any further, I think that would probably be a good place to start and kind of ask about how he handled the whole OGL debacle and like what did that do for you?
Sure. So, yeah, it was a shit show, as we all know. But fortunately, I've never been that involved with the OGL and that kind of D20 rule sets because, quite honestly, it's just not my favorite kind of stuff. I don't know. It's I mostly it's because I don't like Invention Magic. So it's just starting. I play a lot of casters and all that. Invention Magic is just not my cup of tea. But anyway, so I have the tendency of not develop stuff for that sort of rule sets. The thing is that with Sacrifice, I decided to give it a go, and a little short after, the OGL exploded, and I quickly decided, okay, I don't need this crap. I removed most of the references. Things were still in the air because if you guys remember, there was a lot of different opinions. No, we're not going to be able to use spell names. We're not going to use attribute names, ability scores. And it's like, okay, what do I do? Well, I'm just going to change the biggest things like armor class or, I don't know, the typical quintessential elements from D&D, from the OGL, and released a OGL-less version of my own game with my own terminology, and that's it. And I moved on. I just don't. I've never been especially attached to it. So yeah,
it always amuses me that this thought that they didn't expect that the player base, who quite literally are rules lawyers, would have picked this apart.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking. Honestly, I just don't know who made it. Obviously, it was some kind of CEO, businessman room decision, because there's anybody actually playing or making the rules and the game itself, they knew it was catastrophically a bad decision. I mean, it's just stupid.
Yeah, it seemed like it was
the only explanation.
It was a bunch of corporate suits who never touched the game and didn't know what they had on their hands.
Yeah.
But now they've fired the last of the old guard, so there's nobody to tell them they're being stupid anymore.
Indeed. I kind of wonder how that's going to affect their business going forward, because it's like they got rid of all the competent people and they left the lunatics in charge of the asylum. So
I just honestly I don't care. It's just I'm so detached from anything those people do. It's just I don't care. I mean, I literally last year I tried 5th edition for the first time ever, and before that my last edition played was AD&D. That was so I went literally from the 90s up until last year without touching Dungeons and Dragons, and I lived very happy life.
I can
And
understand. Yeah.
yes, and then I tried 5e. It was like, okay, this is not as bad as I thought it would be. Has a couple. I'm a fucking sucker for character development. I love making lots of builds. I, I come from Rollmaster, so that should say everything I need to say.
Oh wow.
So, yeah. So I enjoyed that part of the game, but then it was like, okay, I tried a couple of things I thought it were cool, but now it was just I don't know. I moved on from 5e also, and I don't think I'm touching D&D in any form or shape ever again. It's just
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it,
Well,
it seems like you. It seems like you touched the WotC D&D one time, and then look at what they did.
just,
Was Rollmaster what you started on then?
no. I started like everybody else with D&D, and
Not me.
I didn't start with D&D
well,
either.
sorry for making assumptions, but yeah, I started with the red box when I was like I don't know. It must have been the late 80s, so I was like a brat. I must have been 8-9 years old, and I played once or twice with my cousins without having any concept of what role playing games were. It was just let's play this game. It was cool. We played a couple of times, and then fast forward to '92. There, I actually discovered role playing games for real, and we started playing MERP a lot and Vampire. I mean, all the '90s classics from the early '90s. Then we did jump to AD&D second edition for quite a while until we found Rollmaster, and then it's like, okay, why would we play this thing when we have Rollmaster? It's just so we played Rollmaster to death, and it was basically Call of Cthulhu, Rollmaster, and Vampire the Gathering for Vampire the Masquerade for my group back in the '90s, 2000s, and all that.
yeah.
And you mentioned Cult. It's also one of my. I also have all, or should I say, had all the first edition books. I don't know where they are. I moved so many times that I lost them.
Yeah, I've still got my collection of Cult, and it's all first edition, along with a lot of other really hard to find old books because I used to work in a gaming store back in the '90s, which
Fatal.
yeah, no, not Fatal.
Not the game, the circumstance.
Did someone mention Fatal?
Oh God, no! Kringay woke up. He's going to be talking about anal circumference all night.
Go for it.
But yeah, as I've said before, one of the things that I really enjoyed about Sacrifice, Iron, and Incense is Alex's inspirations for this, because it's material I'm familiar with, because I've said more than once, I said this is Berserk, the role-playing game with the serial numbers filed off, and it is. But also there are other elements in here that I like, because you cite Blasphemous, the video game, as one of the influences on it, and I love Blasphemous, and kind of coming from an old Catholic background, I recognize some of the iconography and things used in it, and and I see similar tones in the Sacrifice game, and where the translation comes in with Berserk, and I think it's really brilliant.
Well, thanks. Yeah, it's definitely a mix of basically taking Berserk and placing it into Spain in the 15th, 16th century.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, with a lot of hardcore religious themes and all that stuff.
I'm kind of curious if you're ever going to have a game set in the Francoist times.
No, I don't think so. I'm not for any particular reason. Mostly because after working for so long on Seekers Beyond the Shroud, anything that is a bit modern day, I'm just burned out. I don't. I'm about to release Unrushing Skies, which is also modern day, but that's it. That's a remnant from when I was working still Seekers Beyond the Shroud. So I'm just for the foreseeable future, I'm done with any sort of modern day or contemporanean setting. I'm all fantasy and science fiction. Just I'm bored of everything else.
Well, that's cool. And speaking of Kickstarters, I said I was going to be stopping my Kickstarters, but I did back Kernithalas into the Midnight Throne, which is the last thing that you did for Kickstarter.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I appreciate the support. That campaign ended a couple of days ago. Well, 3 days ago. And it went pretty well. I'm very happy with the result. We unlocked all these stretch goals we had, and yeah, I think it's going to be cool.
Well, I noticed that it's one of the things that attracted me to it is that it's a single player co-op style game, and as it happens, that's not new territory for you because Sacrifice had rules for solo gaming in it, as well as this one. I have an original God Shard. But I also have broken shores.
Thanks.
It reminds me of the classic Hero Quest video. Another cracking unboxing, and he pulls out like the third copy.
Well, I just got to show off my fandom here, yeah, and Rift Breakers. So you've been doing a lot of exploration into solo gaming lately.
Always, actually, that's been my thing since day one. I mean, since I started with Blackoath and my first game, which was Disciples of One and Shadow, it was always solo. I mean, the reason I started writing RPGs is because I thought that there was almost no solo. I mean, the only solo game I knew when I started was 4 Against Darkness. That's it.
Oh yeah, I know him. He's,
I didn't know of any other solo RPG or RPG light because you can't really call 4 Against Darkness an RPG, but RPG adjacent, I suppose. And I thought, oh my god, this is very cool. Back then, I didn't have a gaming group. I was just playing alone, some tabletop board games and all that stuff. And I discovered that you could play alone role-playing games, which was like, it blew my mind. And I immediately started writing stuff. So since day one, all my games have been solo oriented.
Yeah, I can understand. Grim and I actually kind of grew up in the era of the fighting fantasy books, and I guess you did too.
Yeah, but I wasn't really aware of them. I had the Lone Wolf books, and that's it. They're the only game books, as they call them, or choose your own adventure kind of stuff. That was my only reference.
Oh, but I mean, come on now. I mean, Lone Wolf was awesome.
Oh yeah, it was fucking amazing.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it was so cool.
So I kind of wonder how much of that had any kind of influence on your current work.
None whatsoever.
Okay.
Yeah, because I wanted to move away from that so on rails, like the Call of Cthulhu Alone Against whatever. Like they just released that Alone Against the Static. Those are fun, but is it an RPG? I don't know. It's a game book. It has RPG elements, but I wouldn't consider it an RPG. It's a story with dice. That's it. It's very on rails. You can maybe have a couple of decisions and paths that open in one direction or another. But I didn't want to be that limited, and I wanted to add all the element of randomness to add replayability to the game, which is very important as a solo player, to be able to replay and always have a fresh experience.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was one of the problems that you had with some of those older game books, is that while they were insanely fun, the replayability was kind of hit or miss depending on which book you picked up and how easy it was to get through it.
How often you failed.
Yeah, how often you failed, and whether or not you used finger saves. but but yeah, I like what you're doing with all the new stuff with Rift Breakers and kind of it being a really kind of a unique take on the single player setting and adventure. I like the way that is set up, and I'm really curious to see Kern Nathalis, because I have not seen anything about it. I mean, I looked up on Kickstarter, I saw your name attached to it, and I'm like, okay, I'm backing it. I don't care. It's Alex T. It's gonna be good. I'm gonna enjoy it. So
Appreciate the vote of confidence.
well, you're welcome. I mean, I have that kind of faith in your work, and I mean, I've seen it over and over. The way that you use your artwork and your titles and everything, it kind of has an 80s kind of dark, edgy sort of feel, combined with some like heavy metal aesthetics, and I really enjoy that.
Yeah, it's just it's in my blood at this point. I mean, I've always been involved with that kind of darker culture. I mean, black metal, death metal, I've been playing since the 90s. It's just...
Yeah, you're a musician.
Yeah, I have a lot of albums released, actually. So, yeah.
Are you part of any bands that I know of?
Right. Well, for the past decade or so, I just can't be bothered playing with other people. And since I play all the instruments, I do it all myself. My most successful project, recent one, is it's called At the Altar of the Horn God, which is kind of a ritualistic... I call it ritual metal. It's like
Nice.
A mix of Dead Can Dance with unholy black metal, basically.
So do you?
And a little bit of post-punk here and there.
I've
Some
always
Mercy stuff.
I've always been of the opinion that black metal is Dead Can Dance with the best parts of death metal combined.
Yeah.
The melody and some of the themes and content combined with a lot of the folk influences and things like that.
Definitely.
I also released a black metal album, but it was many years ago.
What's the name of the band?
Wraith. Our album was called Shadows, and although it's no longer on YouTube, random people like in Russia and Greece and different places in Europe have it for sale on eBay for some reason. I don't know how they got it, but it's out there. You can buy it.
Yeah, never question the passion of Europeans in metal.
Yeah.
True.
Oh, my stuff is all on Spotify, YouTube, everywhere, so it's easy to find.
Nice.
That was my next question. I was about to say, are you on Bandcamp or anything? Where can I buy it?
I mean, it's not. It's my label release. I mean, not my own label. It's the label is called I Void Hanger, which is known for releasing a little bit of avant-garde stuff and stranger stuff. They have, for example, a very bizarre. It's a duo from Barcelona. They play. It's just how is it called in English? Double bass, I think it's called. The instrument, yeah, the strings of double bass and flute, and they play like, I don't know, strange jazz, metal, orchestral, but it's just them two, and it's absolutely deranged music, and all the whole label is stuff like that. So the fact that they took me one, and on top of that is one of my favorite labels, so I was like, wow, I'm in one of the coolest labels I know of, so it's a privilege in that sense too. But yeah, I have a lot of stuff. With this band, I only have a couple of albums, but I have a lot of other bands and other projects. And since the 90s, I've been playing. So yeah.
Yeah, so that's one of the things I was thinking about whenever I was getting ready for the interview. I'm kind of like, golly, this guy's a musician, and he writes game books for a living and things, and all this stuff. It's like, I want to be Alex T when I grow up, but
sure you want that. A lot of blood and tears.
Yeah, I'm sure it's been hard over there. What have you struggled with as far as breaking into the game industry?
Depending on others to do stuff mostly, which is why I'm increasingly self-reliant. Because I started with Exalted Funeral, and while they are amazing and I love their aesthetics and the stuff they release and all that, the problem is that they grew too fast and too much, and just I think they became a little bit overwhelmed, and in the process, they lost a bit of that personal touch. And I was having problems communicating with them. I think everything is fixed now, for what I know. They hire a lot of people. Now they are efficient again. But back then, when it was just Matt, basically, and suddenly it exploded. I was getting hundreds of orders every day. So yeah, it became a little bit complicated. So that's why I decided to move on from working with them, and since then I'm just working myself by myself, and occasionally collaborating with other people. But yeah, the more I can do alone, the better. If I knew how to draw, I will not rely on anybody. I guess my books will be much more boring, because always the same artwork. But yeah, I prefer to do everything I can alone right now.
Yeah, I
My
love
brother
Exalted
from another
View.
mother.
Yeah.
I'm the same.
I was
I
gonna
know.
say, it's like, shut up, Jim. This is where Grim reminds me that T-shirt, you still got 2 or 3 books that you need to get done for me.
Yeah, and you just you introduced the stream by saying you're hurting for money and everything. It's like, grind, man.
Come on.
Yes,
Bitch better
I know.
have my money.
Bitch better have my money. Yes, indeed. Oh. Well, I keep hoping the YouTube thing will pay off, but little by little it does. But we're just not there yet. But yeah, I mean, it's so crazy because I was subscribed to your Patreon for the longest time, and you were just constantly cranking stuff out, and I was just like, oh my god, I don't know how he does it. It's just, I'm sitting here struggling, to come up with like a simple chart with like 100 mutations on it, and and Alex is like, I'm getting ready to release my next book, and I'm just like, god damn, what the hell am I doing wrong?
Sleep.
What am I?
That's what you did wrong.
That's what. Yeah, I'm
Well,
sleeping. I'm trying to take care of myself by sleeping and going to work every day. What's my problem?
Yeah.
Silly me.
Yeah, wrong approach.
Wrong approach. Yeah.
I'm curious about something. So obviously, from the content of your work, you're a bit of an edgy boy, same
Absolutely,
as
yeah.
me and Jim Raji. But I think you were saying before we came on, you kind of steer clear of most of the social media and stuff. So how do you market while avoiding backlash?
I think I've just been very fucking lucky so far. I'm always expecting something will blow up in my face, but I only pop my head up when I have something to promote, or I don't know, something I want to share because I found it interesting or whatever. But I definitely don't participate in any sort of online discourse or discussions or whatever. I come up, I'm doing this, I'm going to release this. Here's are the links. There, bye, see you. So I just never like social media, and I just use it because I have to for marketing reasons. But if I could afford someone to do all that stuff for me, I will delete all my social media in a heartbeat. Yeah,
I think so many of us would. Yeah, I know early on I got bit in the ass by the Twitter bug because, I posted something that I thought was mostly harmless and innocent, and before I knew it, I had people just coming out of the woodwork, just dogpiling on me for it, and I'm just kind of like, what did I say?
It doesn't help that you're friends with Grim either.
Well, that's true. But,
I've been attacked for, being nice to him, so.
And I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
Well, I'd say it isn't so much just you're friends with him. It's he's in like 50% of the streams and videos on your channel.
yeah.
It's like you married him.
Well,
And none of us were invited to the wedding. I feel left out.
No, it's a private affair.
Yeah. Sorry, we set our nuptials, quietly.
It was just for the friends and family.
Oh, Squeaka? Well, that's okay. I hope we see you Tuesday. But, yeah. sadly, I really find that, social media is it's kind of like it's a hoop. It's a necessity. You kind of have to have this to get word of mouth out to help get you promoted.
Classical necessary evil, for sure.
For sure. If I could just get by on the strength of my YouTube channel alone and nothing else, I would probably do it. But, a lot of the people I have met through YouTube have been through Twitter originally. So
It's a bit
I got to give credit where it's due.
It's a bit of a Chinese finger trap.
It is. It is. So, I mean, kudos to you for managing to dodge it.
It's
So
don't
far.
fix.
And
We're here to
truthfully,
try and change that.
yeah, we're here to try and change it now. But truthfully, when I first discovered Blackoath Entertainment's games, it was just a straight up drive-through RPG dive. Because I was in the I was just going through the OSR phase where it's kind of like I want to find anything that's OSR that is interesting to me and has a physical printed rule book. Because I'm such a purist about having printed material.
Oh yeah. I have everything on print. I mean, if I like something, I buy it on print instantly.
Mm-hmm.
It annoys me so much when it's only available as a PDF. It's just
Yes. Oh, that's
so yeah. Immediately, that's why I don't have room for anything, and I keep buying stuff, and then 2 weeks later, I realize I like it, but not that much, so I give it to friends. So my friends have a lot of shit constantly given to them for free because I live in a tiny apartment and I actually have a pile here of stuff to give away for the next time I meet my friends again. So.
Well, I mean, if you happen to have a spare copy of Across 1,000 Dead Worlds, that's one I still need to get.
I'll send you. We'll talk later. I'll send you a copy.
Oh wow, thanks, man.
No problem.
Because that's one I definitely wanted. There are actually a few things in your library that I'm missing. So
This is the deluxe limited edition.
Oh.
All the extras and all that.
Oh, go on, show it to us.
Yeah, it's
Let me blow them up real quick.
yeah,
Look at that.
It turned out very, very, very good.
That's not drive-through RPG. Who printed that?
This is actually the same printer that Motifuse uses. So if you own it's a funny story. If you own the Conan books from Motifuse, the D20, 2D20 books.
I do.
Yeah. So this is the book. It's the same. So you know how it is. I actually approached the printer, and I told him I want the exact same book you made for Motifuse, the Conan one. And since then, the purchase was called Conan book. But it was so fucking confusing for everybody. Actually, I got the boxes and it says Conan book on the. Everybody was confused. I remember working with Glyn Seal, and I sent him the files and I was saying, "There's no Across 1,000 Worlds files here. It's only Conan." And I was, yes, that's just this guy's that the project for them is Conan book. So, but yeah, it's their quality.
Those are the Lithuanians again.
Yeah, the Lithuanians. Yeah.
Yep, I use them.
Mm-hmm.
A basic expert is going to be using them. So,
how do you call it? Standard Impresa? Yeah, I think they're called.
Yep.
Yeah,
nice guys. They're very quick to respond.
Yeah, they're fantastic to work with. Very, accommodate to everything, and yeah, it's been fantastic to work with them. I hope I can repeat in the future. And the quality is just amazing.
Those Monster Girl encyclopedias I picked up from Seven Seas, those are printed in Lithuania too. Probably the same printer.
Yep.
I'm surprised at how many people are using that.
Lithographic printing?
It's funny because when you go to their website, it looks like a scam. Like their website is like really shitty.
I know, sketchy,
and it looks like you're like, what am I about to have my identity stolen?
But actually, a lot of those printers from all northern Eastern European countries, or actually Central Eastern European countries, all their websites are from Bulgaria or from Czech Republic. All their websites are the same. They're just, what's this crap? And then they do amazing work. So
it's funny.
Well, It's funny. I was actually thinking about this before I brought you on, but you told us that you do all your POD through Drive Through RPG, and then now you've mentioned that you worked with the Lithuanian printers for that edition of your book. Have you ever considered trying like Lulu?
Yes, but actually for print on demand, in my experience, they are the best. They have the highest quality.
Mhm.
But since I also directly publish it through Amazon, I think there's some sort of conflict there because I think Lulu distributes through Amazon. So I don't know. I haven't had really the time to look into it, and since I can use the same files for both Drive-Thru RPG and Amazon, essentially a couple of changes. I don't know. I thought it was a bit redundant and potentially going to cause me some kind of conflict with Lulu if I had it on Amazon and Lulu at the same time. So I don't know. It's one of those things that I just left there, and I never actually got around sitting and properly looking into it. I guess I should, because definitely it's the best quality. I know it's a lot of fans who buy from Lulu. So yeah, to the to-do list.
That's nice. And yeah, keep in mind out there, audience. It's like when we ask guests, stuff like this. It's not to bore you. It's not just filler questions. But we know a lot of you guys out there who watch this are also, either in the publishing business or you're trying to come up in the publishing business. And it's always good to highlight, what other people are going through with their publishing issues, because it's illuminating. It helps you guys, make decisions in the future about what you want to do. It gives you avenues that you can pursue. Like, I don't know, maybe we'll be cool, and one day somebody will say, I started using the Lithuanian publishers because T-shirt did. I saw it on his channel. That would be cool.
Well, I can actually answer some of those questions about Lulu. If you're already getting stuff printed and fulfilled through Amazon, I would probably leave it with Amazon because you're going to be getting more money that way. But you can set up to sell through Lulu and not have it populate other sites. So it'll only sell on Lulu.
Oh,
and then you
okay.
could offer a direct link to Lulu. So
I did
probably
not-
the best thing for you would be to have your Amazon filing and then have the Lulu sales just on Lulu and then promote them on your own website or whatever. And that way you'll get the biggest cut.
Okay, yeah, that's thanks. I did not know that. I
Glad
have
to
to
help.
I have to look into it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned Exalted Funeral earlier, and they're a great company. I love how indie that they feel and how kind of underground they feel. But I think ever since they started working with Necrotic Gnome and the OSE essential stuff started blowing up. I think that has kind of like swamped them, and they've gotten so much bigger, so much faster than they were expecting.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything bad to say about them as a company. I've always gotten my books from them when I do order them. But I've never worked with them through the publishing side, so I don't know how they are to work with, other than what you've said.
I think they work fantastically. Now they had a couple of rough months, or let's say a year or two even. I know a few people that were also just exasperation because of that. It was just a bottleneck because they were slow to hire new people, and they really needed new people. And yeah, I think that damaged their potential to reach a wider indie audience. But I think right now they're in a good place and doing good stuff. So yeah.
It seems like they've got a good, steady little audience that is there. It will support them by and large.
Yeah, absolutely. They really created their niche. It sucks that they lost a couple of things that made them cool in the process of getting so, especially after Necrotic Gnome incorporated all their business into theirs. Because initially it was the trio of metal, occult, and RPGs, and it was just, you didn't have anything like that. And they slowly started dropping off occult books. Then metal just didn't. I know Matt bought a small cassette label, and I think he released one album, and he wanted to incorporate more into Exalted Funeral, but at the end, I guess they just couldn't handle everything. So yeah, just RPGs now. But they keep that occult metal aesthetic at least, and obviously that's their interest. So it's cool in that sense.
But I like that though. Being a youngster back in the '80s and starting out with D&D back then, I enjoyed heavy metal music immensely. I mean, I still do, but I enjoyed it back then because it was so counterculture to the new wave movement that was popular on the radio and stuff. So I always kind of saw metal as not only was it cool because it was kind of rebellious, but also the aesthetics and everything, especially with early bands like Iron Maiden, Twisted Sister, Motley Crue, that kind of stuff. Really, the kind of outlandish themes that they would sing about and stuff like that would also kind of mesh with some of the D&D aesthetics of monsters and evil creatures and things like that. And I don't know, man, maybe the Satanic Panic was real, but no. But I've always kind of seen especially like European metal, especially like bands like Mago de Oz and stuff like that, to be very fantasy themed and mystical themed. Like they have their own little worlds that they talk about through their music, and it's just awesome how they sing their lore out to you. And it kind of reminds me of like the old court bard type things who would spin stories and things, and it's great for getting ideas into your games as far as I'm concerned. And I've always thought kind of like the metal culture and the gaming culture always kind of went together. I don't know what you think, but
Absolutely, at least for me, definitely. I mean, it was a direct line into from reading fantasy books and playing RPGs and listening to metal and then playing metal. It was just everything the same, direct line to everything.
Definitely. If you want to delve into that topic in a lot more depth, I did a video with the basic expert and my co-author Frank Mills, and we came on and we talked about that exact topic for like 2 hours. So go to his channel and check it out. We talk about fantasy RPGs and how they connect to metal and all that. It was a fun time.
Oh,
dang, I have to watch that.
Yeah, I have to look it up. Yeah, sounds great.
But I'm kind of curious about things because nowadays, with the culture being the way it is and society kind of being the way it is, Grim will come out and tell you that he is a leftist. I consider myself to be left, if not totally leftist, left-leaning, certainly, maybe left of center at this point. And I always felt like I have been, but I don't think I moved. I think the left moved further left. But then I noticed on your posting and things, you say that you are left of left. So I'm kind of curious how that works out with you.
It's actually it has a double meaning.
Mm-hmm.
It's both political and let's say spiritual, because I always deal with left-hand path stuff. So yeah, it's that double it's that double meaning. I thought it was cool.
I don't have any politics. I'm a dragon. I just want treasure.
So a capitalist.
Another CEO, the CEOs of fantasy world.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm definitely absolutely to the left of everybody I know except my partner, probably. So yeah, anarcho-communist, whatever you want to call me. Yeah, that's me.
So what do you think, and where do you see kind of the RPG hobby going, say, in the next year? Because I think that's always sort of the looming question. I think it'd be worth getting new insights on, where do you think things are going to go?
I don't know. Even though I'm in the industry, I always feel like I'm outside of it because I seriously just keep my head down, do my stuff, and talk to a couple of other close friends like Alan Barr. It's a close collaborator, and I don't know. I just really I don't really keep the pulse on the scene that much, even though maybe it's irresponsible of me, or it's the same with music. When I have interviews about music and they ask me, "What do you think about the scene?" I just don't know. I do my own thing, and let others. I think it's easier to just keep true to myself and avoid trends and just do what I find interesting and fun myself. So I don't know. I see the scene in maybe just splitting further. Like you'll have the indie doing their own stuff, and obviously Wizards of the Coast and other wannabes trying to appeal to the masses, which is okay. I guess is a gateway to cooler stuff. Most of people will stay on that level, but the ones that filter down to the actually interesting stuff, well, we're here and we welcome you.
Yeah,
So
I think
that's all I can say about it.
I think indie RPGs are going to get bigger and more complex and more competitive with each other, and more expensive, and all that type of thing. I think it's still a grassroots underground thing with a lot of collaborators and people make smaller products, but I think that it's losing a little bit of the grassroots feel to it, in my opinion.
Some of it's definitely becoming more of a money scheme. I mean, this thing that we're seeing with MCDM.
I don't think that I don't see that as indie, or I mean, it is indie, I suppose. Yeah, by definition, it is. But when you reach certain level of popularity, I don't know. Is it indie?
Yeah, $2 million. Yeah, it's like,
yeah. So yeah,
I thought he hit
it
3.
is the same way Blizzard of the video game company was an indie company once. And, well, that's how they all start.
yeah, Diablo 1 is definitely a different animal from 2 and 3 and 4.
Yeah. So this is the beginning of a new juggernaut, or whatever you call it in the RPG, which is great. It's just another phase, and maybe something good will come from out of all this. But well, we are here doing our own thing, and like you were saying, that maybe the smaller ones are becoming bigger and more commercial. But I think it's like the scene regenerates. So it's like you get layers, and they keep moving up. The ones that manage to move up, but you are always going to have layers popping below. Yeah. And I think we're always going to have interesting stuff for everybody. Especially now we're really living in the golden age of RPGs.
Yeah. I am concerned about what Wizards is doing, though, because they seem to be trying to construct a walled garden similar to like an Apple store or whatever. So people will only play about D&D, they will only know about D&D, they will only have the option to buy D&D stuff. Whereas right now, if they want PDFs, they might go to drive-through and they might see other things and get intrigued. So I'm a bit worried that feeder pipeline is going to be cut off in the next year or two, but hopefully not.
Yeah, it will certainly require a bigger effort for people, but I think that those that are a little bit passionate, at least, about RPGs and curious about what's out there, or even if they make a huge wall garden, as you say, people are still going to homebrew, and for homebrew, and they're going to check forums, and in forums they're going to learn about other stuff. I hope. Maybe I'm wrong, but we'll see in the next 5 to 10 years, I suppose.
Something I think is interesting. Sacrifice is the only game I know of that you have that is OSR, the 3 stats or the 6 stats compatible type thing with anything else, which is my primary interest in it, because I like to take OSR games and mishmash and just kind of treat it like it's a big giant OSR salad bar and just pick out the rules and things that I like from every set, and I do like what you do with Sacrifice. But I'm curious, a lot of your other games don't really use rule sets like that. And where I'm leading with this is, not so long ago, we were blessed with having Mark Reinhagen on for the third time. And it was really refreshing this time to talk to Mark. And, he was telling us that in the process of making Vampire and everything like that, he would almost have preferred to have had no rules or had very minimalistic or rules that didn't get in the way of, everybody basically trying to tell a story and having fun with it. And I'm kind of curious, how much difference do rules make to your type of gaming? Are you more story-oriented with the kind of stuff that you write, or especially since it's being like a single-player type for the most?
Absolutely no narrative storytelling for sure. I'm a hardcore rules guy. Like I said, I come from Rollmaster, so it's just so. Well, first, the reason I didn't release anything with anything else with D20 is, like I said before, I'm not a huge fan. Even though I almost always play D20 systems lately with my groups. I'm actually running a strange sacrifice campaign right now with my friends. But it's not my to-go system if I can avoid it. But since it's like you said, it's very flexible. There's a lot of stuff for it. You can just mix and match, which is a lot of fun. So I did write Sacrifice, and then immediately after I wrote another one, which is called Path of the Aramthir, which is not released yet because it's going to be released by Gallant Knight Games. The Kickstarter should be live in February, I think it was. So, but that one, I wrote it like a year ago already, something like that. So that's the next one. D20 is basically the same system as Sacrifice, the same type of rule set. My own adaptation to the D20 stuff. And right now I'm working on a new D20 system, actually, or well, not really system, just a game. So I have more stuff, but my go-to is always the 100 systems because I prefer the first of all, I consider them more intuitive because everybody understands percentages. So if you see a stat says you have a 50% chance of dodging, that is 50%. Everybody understands that, even if they never played any sort of game. And second, the reason why I prefer Crunch is precisely because I make solo games, and this is my opinion. A lot of people don't share it. It's one of those things that cause a lot of discussions among people because you have always those two branches of storytelling and Crunch, especially with solo games. I guess you have in one side you'll have things like 1,000-Year-Old Vampire, and I'm trying to be on the opposite side of the spectrum. So the reason why, like I was saying, is that I think having the support of a good, concrete rule set with detailed procedures allows player, when you're playing alone without a game master, to spend more time and focus on the story instead of coming up with rules and thinking, okay, what does this rule mean? How do I apply it to this situation? No, it's like, okay, I'm going to fish. I have this fishing mechanic. And I have to, let's check. Maybe today I'm going to roll this. And if this happens, which is the problem I see with a lot of rules-like games, that me personally, of course, some people like precisely that they can just come up with the rule on the fly. Me, when I'm playing, I want to play the game. I don't want to be homebrewing. I don't want to be designing, because otherwise for that I always sit and just design a game. So from my own personal experience, it's much easier if I have a very clear rule set with fixed procedures for everything I need, and that way the story just flows. When something comes up, I just check the rule, this other rule. I guess it's closer to a tabletop. I'm into board game experience in that sense. Very clear mechanics, everything is spelled out for you, and then the story just moves on. So that's that's how I do things because that's how I like to play it. As simple as that.
That is cool, though. Although, this is a big challenge I've been wanting to throw out for people, is to take your favorite solo game rules for for OSR, D&D type stuff, and try to get through Whitechester. Have you seen it?
I own it. It's a fucking masterpiece. Actually, yes, I was in the process of getting ready to play through it because it's so cool. So yeah, just with Mythic and a couple of other supplements for random stuff, and yeah, there you go. You can treat it as a dungeon crawl basically. You just go building by building and there.
Well, I have a couple of writing credits on that one too, so I do hope you enjoy the Gong Farmers.
Oh, yeah, I actually remember. I try not to read too much ahead, but it's such a cool setting and a very cool idea that it sucked me in immediately. So it's fantastic. So congratulations on that.
My head's swelling.
Well, with the Gong Farmers, my whole basic thought was, I don't care what else happens in this particular scene. I don't care if there's lots of treasure or anything else. I don't care if we overload the characters with treasure on this. I want players to go digging through the giant piles of shit. That's all I want. So I hope I found a compelling way to get characters to dig through it, no matter what.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because it's like nobody in their right mind would do this. Oh, but you might if you start seeing a bunch of shinies in it.
Definitely.
But yeah, I think that would be cool. That would be a heck of a challenge, and I don't know. I'm hoping one day that Grim will ease back on the one shots and actually sit down and run an entire campaign of Whitechester, just because that would be hilariously fun.
Maybe eventually. We'll see.
But
okay, hopes up.
Yeah, I won't go. If we play Godbound rules with Whitechester, it'll be something else.
Then no.
What kind of abomination is that?
There's 400 zombies. Not a problem. You take the 50 on the left. I'll take the 250 on the right. Oh, it'd be something though. It'd be something. Yeah. I've had a lot of fun. I've been glad to been able to finally talk to you about all this stuff because, I've been a big admirer for a long time. I like all your work. I own just about all of it. There's just a few books I don't own, and I'm gonna try and get those when money permits. But yeah, I like to keep up with your stuff, and like I said, I like the aesthetic, the artwork, the darkness, and the everything. It's really cool. It's kind of sets itself apart from the corporatized, sanitized work that I'm seeing, the bigger companies putting out, your stuff feels like it has a soul, like somebody actually took time to sit down and put their heart into this stuff. And, they weren't just trying to do it to make a buck. They were doing this because they felt strongly about the work and they liked what they were doing. Not that, they had some corporate overlord going, well, we've got to ship 200 units by February, so I need you to get on there and just throw some artwork on there and fill some pages. We need to get a 300-page count,
I need you to come in on Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah. Gotta go buy some more blow for the rest of the office. So we're gonna need to get that settled up real quick. I need you to put out 200 pages by Monday.
I thought this was a general satire, not White Wolf in the 90s.
Oh God. I kind of wish WotC was on cocaine. Their stuff might improve. But anyway, our hour is up. So is there anything that you want to say about your work or to your audience, to your fans, anybody out there or anything, just to close things up? Or?
Yeah, just if you're interested in my work, you can go to blackoathgames.com, and you'll find there all the stuff I have currently available. You have links to my Patreon also there, and my meager social media, which I'm basically just active on Twitter, and because I use it a lot for finding artists is actually a great. I know most people use Instagram, but I just can't, since I'm all the day in front of my PC and Instagram sucks on PC. I mean, I can't. Well, I think you can't post or do anything. I just check Twitter, and so yeah, I'm frequently around there. But yeah, if you want to contact me, it's all my info is on the website, and so that's it. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a lot of fun, actually.
Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it. We posted links for everything that Alex does on this video, so you can go down there and take a look at it if you miss catching this live. I did have a question from earlier that I want to go ahead and address. Disciple of Logris, our dear friend, he says, on the subject of videos, are there any plans to do more of the Dungeons and Discussion series? Well, I do those as time permits, which is usually during the summer when I have most of my free time. However, I have a couple of weeks coming off after next week. And yes, Grim and I have already discussed sitting down on Tuesday mornings to do a couple of Dungeons and Discussions for everybody. So there'll be at least a couple you'll have to look forward to in the near future.
Nice.
Yeah.
And of course, everybody's invited, so.
Do you have a minute and a half to spare t-shirt?
I do. What you got?
The trailer is complete for my kaiju game. I was hoping if you've got volume figured out for YouTube videos on this thing, then maybe I can share it.
You could share it through your screen, I think, and the volume should work.
Okay, let's see if I can figure it out.
If not, pitch it to Ironcaster. He usually has it figured out. I literally sat down for an hour the other day trying to figure out how to get a video game volume to work through this thing, and I could not do it. So
I still have the odd problem there, but
I put the link in there. It's an unlisted video, so the only people who have ever seen this are the people watching this stream right now.
Ooh, and it has a cool name too. You know what? I bet I can download that real quick, and yeah, there we go. I'll just punch it right up as a video file.
I have it ready, by the way.
Yes, but so do I. Okay,
it's called Robot McRobot Face.
Yes, Robot McRobot Face.
Okay.
We've been fighting a long time.
That sounds familiar.
We're all very tired. There aren't many of us left still breathing. The monsters, they took us all. Every human is a target to them. We think that they were designed to wipe us out. By whom we have no idea. But there's not a damn thing we can find that can stop them. Get underground if you can. If you are listening to this recording, it means they finally broke through the interstate line. The army is long gone. Take whatever we left behind, but don't stay here when night falls. If you stay here, you die. I don't think we can win this war. The best we can do is survive one more day. And hope against hope that somebody out there, anyone, has our backs. Because right now, you're all we've got.
Oh, that was cool. Okay.
That was very cool.
I love
That's
that
a very cool name.
that 80s synth follow, wave and everything.
Yeah.
That poor bottle of Jim being left behind.
I'm sure Greg enjoyed having to get down to that level.
So yeah, we were excited to have that. We just wanted to do something live action that would be cool, post-apocalyptic.
So are you going to Kickstarter or what?
Oh, what's coming?
Okay.
But we're going to do quite a few months of marketing before then, just to get ready. We're going to make another trailer with conspiracy footage too. So.
Oh, that's a cool idea.
Yeah.
I like that. Kind of follow along with that Monarch TV series, which I heard is boring, but
yeah,
it's a shame. So I really like that idea.
Yeah.
I caught the first episode. I just never bothered to go back, and I gotta bounce.
You have a kaiju too.
Yeah, yeah. I need to go and get the forces ready for it.
Roll them tanks out, Ironcaster. Roll them out, man.
I think you'll be all right. It sounded like Godzuki.
Yeah. All right. Well, Alex, thank you very much for hanging out with us today. And everybody out there in YouTube land, you have a great week in Geek. We will see you on Tuesday, where hopefully we will be blessed with the presence of a returned Squeak-a-Mouse.
Nice.
Squeak.
I hope so. I'd like to see her and Harmony get on the channel together and talk about stuff, because, that would be cool. But anyway, until then, y'all take care and have sweet dreams.
Well, nice talking to you, Alex.
Likewise. Ciao.
See ya. Bye.
On behalf of the staff of the Independent California Motel, I wish you all sweet dreams.